House Hacking 101. If you watched our earlier video, we were talking about a 4-flat versus 4 single-family properties, what made sense, and at the end of that we said we're going to do a in-depth video of how do you do house hacking. Imagine you want to buy a 4-flat, and not only do you want to just buy the 4-flat, but you want to buy a 4-flat with the house hacking strategy. So some of you are probably wondering, well, Andrew, what is exactly house hacking? Well, the simple concept of house hacking is that you have your tenants that live in the property pay your mortgage so that you don't have to be burdened with the mortgage of the property. And guess what happens? See, if you do it right, and that's exactly what we're going to cover in this video, which is if you do house hacking right, you don't have to go to work because your tenants go to work for you. Guys, it's the ultimate strategy to start your career in real estate investing. And not only that, but you can stack them fast and you can stack them high. The question is, do you know how to do it? And are you doing it correctly? See, typically whenever people do a house hack, what they do is they find a property, it's an over-improved property, they move into the property, and they buy it with a 3.5% down FHA sort of a loan. Now, is there anything wrong with it? Imagine this. Your house payments of the property, including taxes, everything else, is about $1,800. It happens to be a 3-flat. You charge the tenant upstairs, you charge the tenant in the middle, and you live downstairs and you break even and you go, well, Andrew, I did a house hack. Is there anything wrong with that? There is absolutely nothing wrong with that, because guess what? The day you move out, you're gonna start making a little bit of money on that particular deal. Or even if you don't make all the rent, what's gonna happen is you were paying a very, very small amount of the total mortgage in that particular property, so that's considered a house hack. But guys, if you truly want to be a real estate investor and you want to do house hacking correctly, and you want to follow the formula, which is stack them high, stack them fast, and more importantly are 2, 5, 7, which is 2 years, 5 houses, and have them all paid off within 7 years. So hear me correctly. 2 years, 5 properties, have them all paid off within 7 years, then guess what? I'm going to show you a strategy which you can do it fast, and you can do it right, and you can be debt-free in a very short period of time. So there are 2 styles of house hacking you can do. You can do a house hack with single-family properties, or you can do house hacking with multifamily properties. In today's video, we're going to cover house hacking with multifamily properties. So the first property that you buy, remember, the basic 3 rules that we always look at a property. Number 1 is we always buy properties with equity, meaning minimum of 25% equity is what we buy properties with. Number 2, we always buy properties that have to make cash flow sense. What do I mean by cash flow sense? Meaning, if the rent on a property is $1,000, we need to buy a property where the mortgage, insurance, principal, interest, taxes, insurance is no more than $750. So you have a buffer. You need that margin. And number 3, we always want to buy a property that has a minimum DCR, debt coverage ratio, 1.33. Now, I know some of you will be confused and you'll be, oh my God, Andrew, this is a lot of information. For this video, just pay attention to the basics. So deal number 1 that we're going to find, it needs to be ideally a 3-flat or 4-flat. Now, could you do this with a 2-unit building? Absolutely, you could do this, but ideally for this type of a property, you want to find a property that has a little bit of distress. See, if you're buying a property which is completely redone, that somebody else has already taken kind of the property, rehabbed it, improved it, then guess what happens? The forced appreciation that they created in the property is already taken out of it and you don't get it. To do house hacking properly, what you need to do is you need to learn how to find a great deal, and then you're going to buy it with a specific loan. Because think about it, you can buy a property with an FHA loan And that is for first-time home buyers, and which you can buy for 3.5% down. So instead of buying a property which is in perfect condition, what you're going to do is you're going to use a special loan that is for people, which is called 203K, meaning it's a construction loan. You buy the property with 3.5% down. Guys, imagine this, buying a property for $200,000 with $300,000 down, and then you get another $60,000 on the loan for you to be able to do the rehab. Once you do the rehab, the goal here is that the property needs to be worth way more, meaning it needs to appraise out for way more. You bought the property for 200, you did 50 to 60 in work, the property now is worth 350 or 350 to 400. Now, guess what you do? That's step one, is purchasing the property. Step two is once the property is purchased, it's rehabbed, you put tenants in there, and then you're going to do a conventional refi on the property so that you can basically get a little bit of the equity out of the property. And now you're going to do a refi, and guess what's going to happen? It's going to be a conventional refi so that you don't have any mortgage insurance that you're going to pay. That's going to be step one. One property is done. Now you're going to set that aside. Now it's going to be property number two. Remember, what we're after is 2, 5, and 7. 2 years, 5 properties, have them all paid off in 7. And so number two deal, now we're going to do number two deal a little bit differently. Number two deal, the way you're going to do a buy, a rehab, is you're going to either go to a hard money lender for this one, or you're going to go to private money. So this is going to be a little bit different technique of how you buy this property, the number two property. Then once the purchase is done, the rehab is done. Again, remember our formula. It needs to have equity. It needs to have a good DCR, debt coverage ratio. And number three, it needs to have cash flow. As long as you have those three things, guess what happens? You can buy property after property after property and continue to scale and grow. Remember, whenever you're investing, we don't buy properties like the average homeowner. When you're investing, you buy properties like a business person, like somebody buys a hotel, somebody buys a building. It's based on cash flow, it's based on the numbers. So step one was buying the property, getting it rehabbed. Step two is going to be putting a long-term, 30-year fixed conventional loan with no MI. MI stands for mortgage insurance, because that can be costly. It can be $200-300 a month. So you don't want to pay that. And as long as you have 25% equity in the property, guess what? No mortgage insurance. Step three is going to be really, really simple, as is going to be step 4 and going to be step 5. You're going to repeat, rinse and repeat the process that you did for property number 1, that you did for property number 2. That's that same exact process is what you're going to repeat for step 3, 4, and 5. See, house hacking is not that difficult. What is more difficult and what most people find challenging is they don't know how to find great deals. A good investor is always learning, and a bad one always knows everything. Hopefully, you're one of those good investors that always wants to be learning and always wants to take their real estate game to the next level. This is Andrew Holmes from Chicago REIA. Thanks. Have a great day.